District Board of Directors to order. Please note that this meeting is being recorded. Public comments will be accepted during the public comment section of the agenda. Please rise for pledge.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Do we have any additions to the agenda? All members present. James George? Oh, I missed Steve. Steve Weller.
Yes, sir.
Don?
Here.
Amy?
Here.
And Neil. Staff present.
Fire Chief Greg Brody.
Board Secretary Charlotte Tanner. I tried to say Brody. She's gonna 40 you.
Something to talk about. A little nepotism. Other staff? Nope. In the gallery, right? All right. Yep. All right. Approval of minutes from the previous board meeting. Do I have a motion to accept them?
I'll make a motion to approve the regular minutes from 9/9/2025.
Thank you.
I know. I second.
All right, Steve,
Yes.
is that an aye that you approve the?
Aye.
Hey,
Aye.
James, Don,
Aye.
Amy, motion carried. Newsletter item.
I will be submitting the October article at the end of the week, and burning is now open. So we've been letting the community know that we kind of changed our policies so everyone who currently has a burn permit or gets one between now and the end of the year, that is what the new, it's going to be based on the calendar year. So anyone who's gotten one where we had said, oh, it expires April of next year, everyone's is just going to end December 31st and just keep them on a calendar year. That way we can completely just wipe clean our spreadsheet. And that way no one has to try to remember when theirs expired and they need the ones.
It expires when the fire department shows up and tells you.
Is that it? Just gonna think we got one. Correspondence.
So yeah, I got a letter here. This came from the State Fire Marshal, Mariana Rios Temple. She is the State Fire Marshal. And this is regarding some legislation which occurred during the 2025 legislative session. In essence, this is a little bit of a win for us. Currently, the way we tax people, or RFPDs are allowed to tax, is this really applies to properties of substantial size, 5 acres and more. Currently, the state allowed us to tax improved and unimproved properties within an RFPD up to 5 acres. So we say if they have a house and say they had a house in 20 acres, you can only tax the first 5 acres of that property. The rest wasn't taxed. It was covered by the Oregon Department of Forestry. They pay a forestry wow tax on that. That has been changed now to allow 10 acres. So it's the house plus 10 acres on the of unimproved property on their assessment roll. I looked around real quick and did some GIS stuff, looking at the maps and like that. It's not going to be a big win for us. It's going to get us a little more revenue, but it won't be substantial at all. There are a lot of properties that fall into that, but that is a little bit of win for RFPDs. And along those lines, also there was a legislation action also created a task force which is reviewing how RFPDs. They're not just us, they're all struggling for funding and things like that. And they're putting together a task force to determine what kind of options we can present to future legislative session on how to improve our financial, our budgets and things like that. Some of the things I've heard discussed, this was kind of a roundtable, for example, is that there's some agencies like us that have to go out for a levy every 5 years. That one of the things says if it's passed 3 times in a row, it becomes permanent. That's one thing. Another thing is we are bound by Measure 5, which created our permanent tax rate, which is 95 cents per thousand. We're bound by that. We cannot raise it unilaterally. And there's talk about making an exemption for RFPDs to be able to be raised. But that's going to come together between now and the next legislative session. So what comes out of that, I'll let you guys know.
Okay.
That's all I have.
Treasurer's report.
Just have one large check to be signed. This is for our health insurance. Any questions regarding the bills, please let me know. You'll see this check highlighted in yellow on your spreadsheet. To it's on time. I'm not getting any more late. It's lovely.
Love it.
I didn't realize how many checks you guys had to sign. He's walking into my desk every third day. Sign here.
All right, do I have a motion to accept the treasurer's report?
I'll make a motion to accept the treasurer's report as presented.
There we go. All right, and then James, I mean, you're a second. Steve,
Aye.
James, Dawn,
Aye.
Amy.
Aye.
Motion passes unanimous. Get a signature on that check too.
Yes, thank you.
Perfect. All right, chief's report.
All right, let's start off with September's information. Total calls for September was 70. That brings it up to 489 calls for the year versus 468 for 2024. So we're starting to show a trend of increasing call volumes. We do have a frequent flyer or two now that's starting to come around. Those ebb and flow, but we're dealing with it as we come. No major equipment issues with our equipment. Everything seems to be working okay. Interesting calls. We had 2 natural gas leaks. One was a pretty significant one that Lieutenant Carr was part of. A contractor doing work on Bridge Street hit a substantial line down there, and it was blowing off for about an hour and a half until over an hour until Northwest Natural could get it shut down. We evacuated some houses, established a safe area, and hung around until it was safely shut down. Of note, we did bill the contractor for that. But what it looks like, in looking at our billing company's notes, it looks like they contacted the company to get their insurance information, and it looks to me like the company said, just send us the bill. Because it's probably cheaper than the deductible. So that's what it looks like. All right, we also had one injury, motor vehicle accident. It wasn't very serious, but it was one. And we had 2 mutual aid brush fire calls. I'm very pleased to say, the weather is changing, but we did not have any substantial brush fires in the we had a couple little ones, nothing substantial. Kudos to everybody being safe and smart, so we're happy about that. Training, we did a fire and EMS trivia game. We covered building construction, forcible entry. We talked about our earthquake plan here, our hazardous communication plan, and we spent some time on pump theory and operations. We're trying to get more of our volunteers to get involved with the pumping and driving aspect of things. So that's coming along well. 169 hours of training, man hours of training. Upcoming training, we actually have a list up here. We've gone several months out for some of our bigger ones, but we've got vehicle education, force military, EMS, life flights coming. Well, that says October 13th. That's not correct. It's
Yeah,
October
I saw that, and I'm like,
We had to change.
Hope you can make it.
Yeah, we changed the dates to October 27th, 6 PM. So down here, 6 PM at Spencer Park.
when are we doing that?
20, right?
I'm sorry, what was the date we're doing?
27th.
Second.
Right, oh, that's really high.
Okay, so administrative, we talked about volunteer pulling shift, and uniform ready to respond, 126 hours. Most of the volunteers are still trainees, not certified. They're getting closer. Hours are down as expected in summertime activities. Our summer staffing grant is going well. Two resigned due to conflicting full-time job issues, school, things like that. I think, what's our last thing?
We're now down to just Friday, Saturday, Sunday only until the
End of the month.
We are going to have our audit. Auditor is going to be here on the 22nd, and we feel like we're ready to present our auditor with the information that she needs. We're ready to place that.
Okay.
Of note, we are going to be hosting this coming Thursday, October 16th, a Women in the Fire Service. I can't remember if I told you guys about this last meeting or not, but there's a national organization called Women in Fire. It's a national organization. I think there's something like 10,000 members. And the immediate past president is the number 2 chief in McMinnville. And so seeing how our department is heavily, we have a lot of women in our department, I thought it'd be a really good thing if we invited her up here to do a lecture and talk about the program and talk about issues specific to women firefighters. She's going to be here on the 16th. I've invited firefighters from all of Columbia County, all of Clatsop County, and Banks. Charlotte just ran into some Banks firefighters, a woman, and so they're just totally excited about coming up and doing this. So this room's hopefully be filled with women firefighters this Thursday. We're looking forward to hosting on that. Chief Meyer has resigned, personal reasons. Lieutenant Abney and Tanner helped instruct the Portland Metro Fire Camp for girls. They donated their Saturdays and Sundays. It was hosted out in Portland area. They spent 2 full days out there. How many women? 60 young ladies out there?
Yeah, I think it was like 60 campers.
Yeah, 60 young gals. And so they went out there, Charlotte was teaching them all about hose, and Brandy was kind of the counselor for them. Everything went well, right? I mean,
Great, it was great.
Yeah.
Great network.
Can you talk about what that is, the Metro Fire Camp for Girls?
So, they started this, what did they say, 20-something years ago. We started at Portland Fire, and it's now becoming spreading nationally. Last year was my first year going as a counselor, and they had, so the camp to bring its ages 15 through 20 for girls, that they can come to spend a weekend, and they go over all the big aspects of being a firefighter. From they learn forcible entry, search and rescue, vehicle extrication. Last year they got to do the bailout, if you have to bail out like a 2nd, 3rd story window. Yeah, going up the aerial, hose handling, I mean, and then they bring a special guest to come to speaking to. And all the instructors are all women. There's most of them are in the fire service, but we also have people from Portland Police Bureau that come and help instruct. A lot from Oregon State Fire Marshal's Office, a lot of women there. So a very broad spectrum of women that are in emergency services come and help and teach these girls and just encourage. And, it's mostly the fire service, but they also have the presentations from Portland Police Bureau and about their cadet program and, other aspects of emergency services and EMS, because we also have it's Portland, so we have AMR out there. So AMR feeds into and has a station and talks about that. So we encourage emergency services overall for these young girls and ways that they can get into it.
Pretty cool.
And it's free too for all the campers. It's all the meals provided and everything. So it's completely free for all campers.
Okay. Yeah. October 4th, we had the Red Cross here on a Saturday. It was really great. They actually exceeded their goal of blood collected. So James Pizarski was here and donated blood, and Charlotte donated blood, and it was a good thing for everybody. Well, Amy did, of course, yeah, Amy came in, sorry. Yeah, they were like the first ones here, so. So yeah, they actually were very, very excited about it and like to do it again with us. And so maybe in 6 months again, we might host them up here again.
Good.
I'd like to talk about chief officer coverage of Scappoose, just because of my nervousness about always having a chief officer available for the big potential problems. And again, I don't want to just talk about big calls. I want to talk about big issues. And that I've used this before, but we get in a car crash, we get injured, we injure somebody else, God forbid we have a line of duty death. We've got a problem arises that our company officer, line level people are not able to take care of. They need a little more administrative oversight. So I have contacted Scappoose Fire and asked them to be available for coverage. Signed a little kind of chief's agreement with them that if needed, they can come up and do that. I don't see it happening very often. There's a lot of issues that we can handle here. We're currently down, we have Chief Ben Davis and we have Chief Hansen. And then we've got Chief Kaczynski out of Mist and Chief Steinman from Mist. So we've got quite a bit, but I just feel better having more people available to us if we should need them. I don't see it happening very often, but if you happen to see Scappoose flying through town, it's because we need them. So next up, we took it upon ourselves to be proactive, and Lieutenant Abney and I, Lieutenant Abney is our safety officer for the district. We invited OSHA into our building for a consult.
I wanted to talk about this. Go ahead.
For the simple fact is that we knew that, well, I mean, OSHA come walking in any place is going to find a problem.
Yep.
We know this. And so we invited him in and said, let's talk about what we need to do. He spent 3 hours here and we talked basically about station things. You know, he said, well, it's a new building. I don't expect to find much. And he didn't. He wants us to put up some fire extinguisher signs and put an AED sign above our brand new AED over there. You know, it's a little thing, little housekeeping things here and there. It wasn't anything big. He reviewed a few of our policies and such, and he's going to send us a written report. All in all, I felt like it was a good thing. And in a sense, he kind of alluded to the fact that by doing this, it puts us in a better grace with OSHA should they decide to pull an inspection on us. In fact, delays a little bit too. So, and we're going to invite him back with more of our programmatic issues, not issues, but programmatic things that we have. For example, our bloodborne pathogen policy, all these sort of things. And I flat out told him, I said, you're going to find deficiencies. He said, I expect to. He was very knowledgeable about the fire service and he's been with OSHA for 19 years. He's the guy that investigates deaths. He's one of their few people that investigates prisoners in the workplace death. He's one of the primary investigators, but he was a very helpful guy when I was talking about that guy.
And just very knowledgeable and, very much comes in and does the consultant. He's not, and his systems are separate from like the investigation stuff. So it's not.
He says his system and the investigative system does not talk.
So we talked about him coming at a long-term thing, probably about every 3 months for the next couple of years. And we're just working on little bits and pieces and looking at this aspect and that. And, where can we improve? And he goes, each time I come, he goes, I just want to see improvement. I also need, perfection. So it was just very helpful. And I think it lowered my stress level a little bit, but it just established that better relationship with OSHA.
Do we have any employees that are actually have taken either OSHA 10, OSHA 30?
So Brandy attended a conference in Bend just a few weeks ago, an OSHA conference put up by OSHA. I don't know if that was, he never mentioned those numbers you just mentioned.
So normally in construction, we have OSHA 10, which is like, you have to constantly get that. And OSHA 30 class basically gives you everything with OSHA. Like I have an OSHA 30, so I never have to take OSHA classes again. So that's why I was wondering, like, paid personnel, it just kind of gives you insight into what they're looking for and know what new laws come out. Because OSHA, it changes constantly,
Every week. Yeah.
If something were to happen to Brandon, and they look at the books and like, well, he died by the buck hitting him.
Yeah.
They're gonna write a new policy about why did Brandon get hit by a buck, you know? So that's why I just don't know. I mean, there's a lot of training facilities out there that, and you can take OSHA 10 and OSHA 30 online. So I don't,
We'll bring it up with them, see if that's.
especially if she's gonna be,
If there's something specific in the fire service, we'll find out. If not,
I mean, that book is like that thick. I mean, you can, it's like an NFPA book. You can, it has its own sections.
And I can guarantee you this, that he's never gonna get injured by a buck, because about a year ago, we got a call, in fact,
I seen the picture.
Yeah, he had nothing to do with it.
I seen the
I
picture.
got it there eventually.
I would have taken care of it. Might not have walked away, but it wouldn't have.
Oh, she's already scheming that. Never mind on that.
You know,
Is there anything specific about the consult program? So I am familiar with when you call for consult, oftentimes they will not put you on programmatic inspection,
that's
right? As long as you're under consult.
That's kind of what he alluded to.
But the act, because Chief specifically asked the question is, now that we called you in for a consult, you know, he's gonna find our little errors. Does that move us up on the list that have an inspection come on? And he actually said, no,
It goes the other way usually.
kind of the, I mean, there's no guarantees,
No,
but,
no, of
but
course.
it leans the other direction of put this at the bottom of the list.
Okay.
It just shows. that
Because we're being proactive.
Good.
Yeah. And he was very happy and, you know, I asked him, is this, you know, you get calls from fire departments very often? He said, most of the time it's larger fire departments. So.
Did he get into like PPE or
That's next time.
That's next time, yeah.
cutting equipment or?
A lot of that's next time.
That's it, that's coming. So,
And then do you know, do they still run the SHARP program? That's still an OSHA thing?
the sharp containers.
No, not SHARP's container. I forgot what SHARP stood
Oh.
for. It's an acronym.
Never brought that up.
I don't recall hearing about that in any of my classes.
Alright,
I don't think it would be appropriate for us. I mean, it'd be very cool if we were SHARP certified, but I don't think that financially we could sustain.
we have, in moving along with our, requirements and such, we, Lieutenant Carr and Flag Sergeant worked very hard to put up new signage. We put up a, handicap parking spot marked off appropriately and stuff like that. So we're following more compliance, ADA guidelines, which is going to key into another part of our discussion later on today, this evening. Yeah, so we got that done. So part of the thing that, was this handrail that we all see out here that's got our cones and our, so I had Mike Sloop, who's the owner of 5 Star Construction, who are the ones that built the building. I had him up here about 2 or 3 weeks ago to talk about a septic project, which is next. But, and I said, hey, you know, this guardrail, how can you guys let this go like this? He says, yeah, that ain't right, we're gonna get that fixed for you. So
Nice.
we're gonna get that guardrail extended down so people can fall. So I just added on a couple things here, I'm sorry, but Life Flight, so 5 Star, the reason I brought them out, the main reason is, we are looking at getting a bid from them to build a Life Flight landing pad out of the Vernonia Airport. I've had conversations with the city and the airport management to build a permanent Life Flight landing pad. As many of you probably seen the one on in Horseshoe Station on Highway 26. They built that, so they got the specs, they got everything like that. We're talking about possibly building one out there at the airport. I got my eye on a grant, which I think will take care of it. So we'll move that along. Next thing also, one thing that has come out of some readings I've been doing is I just realized that we do not, as far as I know, have a EAP program, Employee Assistance Program.
Are you serious?
So, but there is one offered through SDAO, which I have it right here. The sad thing is that the 3 contact people that I found on this and their website, none of them return my calls or my emails. So I'm going to continue trying to find somebody on this. It looks to me that the reason I've been calling it is that there was a sign up period. It was in June, which we obviously didn't make. And I wanted to see what it would cost to sign up past that. What I did get out of it, it's relatively cheap. It was like $16 a person per year. It wasn't that, it's $18 or something like that. And so it's very important that I think we get an EAP program here. So I'm going to continue to work on that. And if I can get us signed up, then I'm going to sign up.
Yes.
The last thing I want to do is I told you the people of the tradition that I started here several months ago is noting the accomplishments and the appreciation I have for our volunteer program, and I'd like to single out some volunteers myself, and I'd like to introduce you right here. This gentleman's name is Tyler Crapper. He's a relatively new guy with us. He's only been here about 6 months, 8 months. Yeah, he's a new resident of Vernonia. And this kid has shown up. He's got a lot. He does have experience working at 2 other departments in Yandell County and down the coast. And so he came to us. He had certifications, and he had taken an organization like we duct to water. And when I look down at our app that we have, and we get a call to see who's responding, more times often than not, I see him hitting the button and he's going. I hear him on the radio responding, and he is very, very helpful to us. He's in an EMT program right now. He's got his firefighter 1. He's got his driver's stuff. He's done a fantastic job for us. I even want to know, even a call we had yesterday. We had a call out of town here, so ways, and this house was it's one of these houses that you can imagine how bad this house was. There was an elderly woman living in this house, and it was really, really, really bad. One that we are obligated to make reports about to the various authorities, which we did. While we were there, another call dropped on the other side of town for a cardiac arrest. And so that place is high on the priority list. So we actually had on scene a community paramedic from Scappoose Fire who was helping us with the situation that we saw in this house. We called for a missed ambulance to come and transport her. So Metro West and our on-duty crew, we could all respond to the cardiac arrest. Tyler stayed behind, and the information I got is that he cleaned out this woman's cat box for her and cleaned up some stuff. And when we walked in the house, we realized it was freezing cold, and she said she couldn't get her wood stove to work. And I think it was Brandon that made the discovery that the batteries and her thermostat were not working. We changed out the batteries, the thermostat were fine, kept the heat on. So, and this is how bad things was. She's being neglected. And so we've got her in the system. It's my understanding is tomorrow the state's going to do an assessment on it. But I just want to notice that Tyler was went above and beyond. I got called out by the community paramedic. I'm going to make special note of just what a great job he did. So Tyler, thank you for everything you do. I want to say keep up this now, but he is, I understand volunteers have full-time jobs, but he's got the possibility. He told me a couple months ago, there's a chance he might be leaving for Boise, Idaho for an extended period of time. We tried to call his boss and get him fired, but that didn't work. But we're gonna work hard to keep this guy around as long as we can, because he does this great job. That's it for the chief's report.
Good job.
Thank you.
You didn't realize it gets cold in Boise, right?
September.
You have a chief's report?
On September 1.
It was in my book.
From August.
Really?
Yeah.
They get you one.
No, I'm good.
Okay.
Old business?
Okay, so this is what the board policies. I have the books of our policies printed out, but I have yet to get our new policy transmitted. I own it. I will tell you this, and in preparation for the OSHA thing, again, a couple last week, I have spent the past month pretty much getting our OSHA policies, our HAZCOM, our patching, our emergency response plan, our earthquake plan. I've been working on those, Lieutenant Abney, so I have not devoted any time to getting the policies, any new ones written specifically for, board policy stuff or transfer the old ones over. So I own it, and I will look at that much fire in the one that's there. But the policies that we've always had are still in place. They're still in the book. They're still ready to go.
And then,
B,
yeah, strategic plan. That was
strategic
tabled
plan.
until this fall.
It is, and we're in the fall now.
Yep.
And this is hugely important to me because I've been working, I had a timeline set up last spring. And that I got tabled till the fall because we know it's a big deal. The strategic plan is going to be largely dependent upon information that I'm going to give you guys later on this board meeting.
Okay.
And so a lot has to do, the strategic plan is completely triggered upon what we talk about later on this meeting regarding levy stuff. So I don't want to start strategic plan here without knowing where the board's gonna go on our long-term goals here,
So
so,
we discussed that in February at the conference, that
yeah,
the two go hand in hand.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Well, it's actually, the next thing.
Then with that, let's go to new business and talk about the levy proposal.
All right, Steve, give me a second here. We're gonna bring up something here. And how do I get to where?
You wanna share your window and then are you gonna pull stuff up in there?
You know how to do this, Brandy? It's on the desktop.
Been a little while since I've done it. But let's say you go to share window. But right now you're sharing the screen, but you wanna go here. And then you need to have it already open.
Okay.
No, don't do that.
Oh, yeah, don't leave.
I'm gonna minimize it.
Yeah, minimize.
Yeah.
I'm just glad you guys can't see my ugly mug.
All right, Randy,
Go back to your,
to the meeting.
yeah, go back to the meeting.
I'm gonna do that. Maybe.
The next one.
That's the, what's that one say? Maximize media window. Okay, go to your share.
Get an amount address. Share window?
Yeah, go to your share window
Now there's full research. We see the buying amounts.
Yeah,
and then go,
There's
when you want, yep.
Yeah. or get him a mouse pad. It's not tracking.
Yeah, we try. If you put it on paper, you'll know quickly. As long as it's not a black item, right? It should track. It doesn't track when it's the mouse is the problem. Yeah, the mouse.
Okay, Steve, can you see that?
Yes, I can.
Wow.
The
Slideshow.
VRFPD board presentation, I do see it.
It's working best for us.
Okay, so let me get it out.
Everyone, please. Slideshow, then start show. Ah, There we go. This worked like one, two. So, this is perhaps one of the scariest things that I've ever brought up, to you guys, who are the elected representatives of the district, who represent the taxpayers in this district. And, one thing I've been thinking about for quite a while and had some sidebar conversations with a lot of different people. And, the thing is, and I feel like the worst guy in the world that says, I'd like to talk to you guys about raising your taxes. It's not something that anybody really likes to hear. Not really what anybody wants to hear. So you're gonna say, well, you better make it good, you better make it worth our while. And so that's what I'm gonna do tonight, is try to present you guys an idea that, we've been kicking around for quite a while, and, see how that works out. So this is what we're talking about tonight. Introduction to our proposal, brief tax history of Vernonia Fire, why levy increase is beneficial, what it will fund, comparing to our neighboring jurisdictions, and my plan to present to the citizens. I just thought it was a great picture. All right, so this is our current breakdown. This is how you guys pay your taxes in Vernonia Rural Fire Protection District. The breakdown is 95 cents per thousand is our permanent rate. And Steve, I might need you for a little bit of history on here, and I think we talked about this already, is that if we go back to 1992, this building was owned and run by the city of Vernonia. This was a city fire department. Outside the city limits, there was a rural fire district. In around 1992, when Steve was the fire chief, the city elected to get out of the firefighting business, and the district patrons voted to take in the city people. So the city general fund stopped paying for the fire district or fire department operations, and we just started taxing the people within the city limits of Vernonia at 95 cents per thousand.
Because that's what the existing
That
rural.
was the existing rate.
Okay.
Exactly. when, I think that was, and I'm just speaking off my cuff here, I believe that was the appealing thing is we're not gonna raise anybody's taxes by doing this. We're gonna just keep it at 95 cents per thousand. The city's getting out of the fire department business and the district will take over operations. So that is how the rate was determined. Steve, does that sound correct to you?
That's correct.
Okay. So, over the course of the past, I don't know the exact years, but, we currently have, there's been various levies. Our current levy right now is, just like this window right here. Yeah, get the mouse to work. Our current operational levy rate, 5-year levy, is we add $1.24 onto everybody's taxes. And then also, we are on our last year, we're gonna make our last final payment for a bond. The bond buys big things. And that was for the water tender out there. We're making our last payment on that this year and we will be free and clear of that debt. So right now, the total amount of money that we're charging taxpayers in Vernonia is $2.37 per thousand. That's what we're paying. When the bond is paid off, that rate's actually dropped down to $2.19 per thousand. So next year's taxes would reflect that reduced value that their taxes will slightly decrease. Now that's the tax rate will, depending upon the value of their home. But that's what's going to happen. So now this doesn't want to go. Right.
There you go.
Okay. So there's the breakdown right there. And this is the proposed. So what I would like to consider doing is keeping our, we can't do anything about a 95 cents per thousand permanent rate. And my plan, my idea to present to you guys is to raise from $1.24 up to $2.02 per thousand, which is 78% increase. And that will bring us up to $2.97 per thousand. And I'll speak to you just a little bit why the $2.97 is an important number to me, why I chose that number. However, one thing to note is that our apparatus bond is going to be paid off this year. So that would, it would actually appear on people's taxes, a raise, instead of 78 cents, it would only be an actual raise of 60 cents per thousand. Is how that would appear on their taxes. So why is the levy is increased? The Vernonia RFPD current budget is stable right now. Our 2026-27 are a little bit concerning. I think we'll be okay, but it's not as quite tight and less. It's a little more concerning than the budget we have now, but our budget guys seem to think that we're probably close to.
Yeah, well, people here, we will not be able to like buy anything.
Right.
And
Things break, we're not going to be able to fix them.
That's not okay.
So I firmly believe that funding needs to be set aside for future capital purchases. Our call volumes, those stable, they're just up a little bit, are increasing nationwide, and staffing is an issue. And I'm going to talk about that in just a little bit here. And as noted, volunteer response is down nationwide. I just found this stat earlier today when Brady was going through our old picture stuff right here. I'll bring this up on the other side. So I went back to July of this year, not that far, but I thought it'd be a good taste of what our responses look like. And this is, I picked our big ones that usually require a lot more people. Residential, wildland fires, motor vehicle accident fires, motor vehicle fires and accidents. So cars on fire, cars crashing, wildland fires, and residential fires. And this was, as you can see, our response right here. Our last fire that we had, last two fires, we had one career person with volunteers respond to house fire. And another one, we had one career and 2 volunteers respond. We had 1 and 3. You can see PT is a part-time seasonal staffing that we had, or actually this would be 1 volunteer. Well, 3 career, 1 part-time person, and 1 volunteer. Another one, we had 1 career, 2 volunteers, 1 support person. We were lucky on the 21st to have 5 volunteers. On the 13th, it was, I didn't write down particular all. It was one of those 4, 1 career person responded. So, we don't have a great deal of response. And what's interesting about the fact is coming out of that log book that Randy found, that scrapbook, I've got a list of calls here from 1977 and 1978. And this is the number of people, and I'm assuming these were all volunteers because it looks like they didn't hire the first chief until 1978. A chimney fire, they had 11 people. Another chimney fire, they had 21 people. Overheated stove, they had 13 people. These were volunteers. Chimney fire, 15, car crash, 3, car crash, 8, car crash, 9, 11, 12, 26. It goes all the way down. Anywhere from, 3 to 20 people on every call. Those were all volunteers that responded. Same numbers are pretty true for 1978 as well. Volunteer response in Vernonia is down massively, but we are not alone in that. It is a nationwide thing. Everybody has volunteer staffing issues. We are doing, I believe, everything we can possibly do to attract more volunteers. We've got the sign up in the middle of town. Charlotte puts out Facebook posts. I go and visit everybody. We're teaching in the schools, these 18-year-old kids that we'd like to get out of high school, the Euro program. I'm not sure what else we can be doing. If someone's got a suggestion to me, I would definitely do it. I'm not sure how else to reach out to people to try to get them to volunteer. It's a different world. There's liabilities. There's people got different obligations. It used to be, that one person could support a family job.
I think the difference that you're seeing between 1978 and now, because my husband quit the fire department back in like the late 80s, early 90s, because there was too much stuff that you had to do.
The training grounds. Absolutely.
I mean, he couldn't do a full-time job and he couldn't do the.
Absolutely agree. Absolutely. We asked our volunteers to get about 5 weekends now, just to get the basic training.
Yeah. And that's
Yeah,
for somebody that has to work full-time. that's too
It's a
much.
lot, and nobody, we can't get around that one, and it's hard, and it kills small departments. So more and more departments like Vernonia chose to do 3 years ago was to start hiring paid folks, which that's why we're fortunate enough to have 4 paid people on staff here right now. At least have somebody that can be here 24/7, respond on calls, drive the rigs. And we might have some volunteers that are able to come in and do stuff. They're not qualified to drive the rigs. All of our staff here is qualified to drive the rigs, get the engine to the fire, and more people can show up. But again, it's not a problem exclusive to us. It's endemic across the country, and we'll just continue to do what we got to do.
It's been an ongoing problem.
Yes.
So I talked about this earlier. Prior to 1992, it was run by the city of Vernonia. There was a tax rate, had 1 chief. 92, they voted to disband. I forgot that I talked about this, but that's the history. Several operating levies have been presented, with most having success. There was one that was tried in 2023. There it is on the bottom for $250 per thousand, which would have the idea behind Chief Davis's proposal time was to have 2 people on 24/7. That one did not pass, and I don't think it wasn't a huge fail, but it was a fail enough that it was obvious that they decided to go back the $1.24 per thousand, and that is where we currently stand.
Steve's got a question.
Yeah, Steve.
Yeah, Chief, I'm not able to see. I saw the initial presentation with the slide of VRFPD presentation, but I haven't seen any change of slide. Are you changing slides?
Yes, I am. I don't, it says I'm sharing this window. I don't know.
Mhm.
I can email this to you when we're done here.
Sure, that would be fine because it's just not changing
I
slides.
will email you this, because it says right now that I'm sharing it, but I don't know what to tell you, sir. I'm sorry.
That's all right.
We're gonna move along here.
Sure, move ahead.
So I've got a graph here that shows what each of our current funding taxes would fund. Our 95 cents per thousand, a permanent rate, if, for example, we were not to have any levy at all, it would fund the daily operations of this district. It would fund 1 full-time employee, 1 part-time office person.
Well, we say daily operations, but that's, again, there's no contingency fund, there's no reserved for
It's day-to-day.
apparatus replacement.
Day by day.
Yep.
Day by day operations.
Yes.
That's what it was done. I would pay them, keep the lights on and, you know, if we had to replace a flashlight, we could probably do that, but
Would that be about it?
we're gonna not get much beyond that. The notes is that's our permanent tax rate. Our current levy is 124 per thousand. That funds daily operations, 1 part-time fire chief, 4 full-time firefighters. And that expires in 2029. We'd have to go off for it again to maintain operations. So if we were to bring this up, add the 20, change that 124 to 202, that would fund daily operations. You would have the potential, if you wanted to hire a full-time fire chief. You would have full-time firefighters, and then we would be able to hire a plethora of part-time staff. My ideal thing right now is, for example, most of the time Lieutenant Tannery works Monday through Thursdays on 10-hour days. I would like to fill Fridays, Saturdays, and Sundays with at least 12-hour people as well. So we have 2 people on during the daytime every day of the week. And my idea would have a pool of people. We've got some people internally. I know some people externally, retired firefighters and such that would fit the bill well to do that. In addition, if we had, for example, red flag days, jamboree, a major catastrophe, flooding event where we need to bring in a lot more paid paid staff to be here, we would have the ability to fund those positions to do that. It would also, we'd have the ability to increase our training opportunities. One of the things I've thought about is we've got a whole bunch of land back here that's not being used, and we were talking about looking at putting some Connex boxes out there. Very simple, easy to go training structure. It could be put together in 2 weeks, and we'd have the ability to train, climb ladders, cut holes, do a maze through there, all those sort of things. We do not have any of those things right now. We were very blessed to have James George paint our storage building over here, but now we're facing the problem is that's the one we used to throw ladders against to practice our ladder training, and now we're terrified to throw.
Yeah, that's okay.
Now, you know, it makes us less hesitant to want to do that. And so we really do not have any adequate training structures here at all. So it would also most importantly, I believe, increase our reserve fund. We currently, as of today, have about $62,000 in our reserve fund. And a new fire engine is $1 million today. In 10 years, it'll probably be $1.2 million, something like that. We need to start putting some serious money aside for our future operations. The AFG grant, which we'll talk about here in a little bit, this year was funded at $360 million. It's going down to $324 million next year. And not going to get political with the government. We all know how the government's functioning right now. I believe that our ability to be feeling secure that we could possibly get a grant is diminishing every day. So that unfortunately turns that back on the community itself to have to fund ourselves. If right now we have 1 fire engine out there, if we blew the engine up on there, anywhere from $25,000 to $40,000 to rebuild that motor in the engine. We don't have it. We don't have it. We have it, but we wouldn't be able to fuel the engine now. And that's very, very scary. That engine will be parked until we can figure out a way to pay for it. And so that makes me extremely nervous that we could take the remainder of our apparatus reserve fund. I won't say we don't have it, but we've been absolutely down to zero. And so we are not at all doing an effective job of planning for our future needs in the fire district. Calls are going up, volunteer response is down, needs of the community change. We haven't had the F word in a number of years, and that knows it could happen again. We don't know. There's just a lot of things that could happen that I believe we need to build up our reserve fund. So you probably saw on Facebook, we did get a FEMA grant for $242,000 to buy new SCBA's. We're very, very thankful for that. But we have an SCBA fill station. I heard it was purchased well over 20 years ago, maybe 30. But it hasn't worked in 3 years. It hasn't worked because the cylinders are expired in there. They have to be hydro tested. All the valves in there haven't had air moved from them forever, have to be replaced. It doesn't work. We take our SCBA's to other departments to fill up our SCBA's when we use them. A new one, $60,000, $80,000 for a new station, or new fill station. We don't have it. We don't have it. So that's why I think it's massively important for us to be able to start setting some money aside for the training's a huge one for me, to be able to refill these brand new SCBs that we're getting, but most importantly, put money aside for the big ticket items that are gonna come up, That engine out there is a 2001, the one we have from Forest Grove. NFPA says that they should be moved to reserve status at 20 years. It's now 24 years. And
Frontline roads.
it's still our frontline rate. The one we're getting is gonna be 2009, a little buffer on it, but it belongs to City of Hillsborough, and they run the crap out of them. I mean, it could turn out to be a problem child when we get it. I don't think it will be, no indication it will be, but again, we're gonna get a rig that's got, not that much, 6 more years of life on it or something like that. So, we need to start thinking about the long term of setting some serious money aside for us to be able to look at purchasing something ourselves. I think that's what we need to really truly think about. So that's it. I've already talked about this. We're placing $5,000 a year into the reserve account. Hire additional personnel for daytime stuff. Up staff is needed. SCBA fill station, funding available for full-time fire chief and more chief coverage. Our communication equipment, the radio that I carry is 20, 25 years old. And most of our radios are extremely old. We need to standardize. We have 6 different makes and models of radios. None of them, no 2 radios operate the same in our fleet. And that's okay for us as the career staff who use them every day. But for the volunteers who come in, they're used to one radio, they can hand another one. A radio is a life-saving tool. They need to call for help and know how to work with radios. And you can't expect a volunteer that does this 2 or 3 hours a week to be able to remember how to use 6 different kinds of radios. So that's a big thing. We have also obtained a new grant to buy new turnout structural gear, but our PPE wildland gear, not since they throw a fire on the back. So that's what we got. It's all their stuff that they got rid of 5, 6 years ago. So we need to get new wildland PPE. That storage building at the back is a great building. It is starting to fall apart. It leaks water. It is the roof is I won't put anybody on the roof of that thing. It's very, very concerning. I had a brief conversation with 5-Star Builders when they were out here talking about the helipad and things like that. His recommendation is that we put a prefab metal building back there to replace that one. We just set it on there, and we could store our trucks. We store it here. We get additional office space and storage space and things like that. We'd actually extend the building out, doubling its capacity in there. The limited training facility, like to talk about here, and also bring some competitive pay for employee retention. It's a different subject for a different day, but I can tell you that we aren't paying anywhere close, not even remotely close to what our people in our surrounding agencies are paying our folks. And I'd like to see that addressed at some time. This is the new one, 911 levy. It's appeared on your ballot twice now in the past year, and twice now it has been shot down. It's a 29 cents per thousand operating levy for 911. There's been an affected campaign by a particular individual who lives in the county to shoot it down. And you might have received some mailers in your mailbox describing how bad things are at 911. We have to have 911. We have to be able to be called. If 911 does not pass this levy, their next option is then to charge the users. That's us. That's us. If they can't get the money they need from taxpayers, they're going to take it from the people that use the system. That's what they would do. They will start sending us a bill. Early estimates for us, $55,000 a year. That's one firefighter. We lose a firefighter, that's it. So, if this person who's made this campaign to shoot down the operating levy, if he's successful again, we're going to get a bill from, potentially $55,000. That's the early numbers. It hasn't worked out. It could be out by $20,000 or $30,000, but either way. And but we have to pay for 911. I mean, we have to have 911 services, otherwise we don't get notified of calls. It has to run. So that would be a potential issue for all of us. All of the fire districts would take a huge hit on that. Some departments have 3 or 4 people. We're looking at most definitely one position. But that's how much it would hurt us.
You can always go back to the fire plan and calling each other on the phone.
Yeah, legit, was just gonna say that. The thing back.
Right, but they call 911, who's gonna answer?
Yeah, that's true.
So this one worries me. You know, they've got one more chance. They're gonna go in May, which my proposal to you guys would be is that we put our ballot levy up for the district. If we decide to do that, would be in May. So it would be us and 911 both on the same ballot. And that's something I think we should talk about in a later meeting, that if we were going to support one, we should probably support both. So, but it creates, if we were to get our levy, would be successful, that one doesn't, then we've got that padding built in that it would destroy us. I would definitely have 25% of our staff here. So let's talk about other tax rates in Columbia County. Let's talk about Clatskanie. Their permanent tax rate is 172 per thousand. Again, ours is 95. They have a levy of 125 per thousand, bringing them to that magical number of 297 per thousand. Let's go to Columbia River Fire and Rescue. Their permanent rate is 297 per thousand. They do not have a levy. Let's go to Scappoose. Their permanent rate is $1.11. Their levy rate is 199, bringing them to 310 per thousand. And they were very successful passing that just in May this year. Finally, Miss Birkenfeld, their permanent rate's 208. They do not have a levy, so there's her total rate. So we have the lowest permanent rate in the entire county, 95 cents per thousand. And we have the second lowest rate overall. This is just under us, but everybody else is, for the total rate, is above us. So there it is. With our current levy, we're the second lowest in the county, though we still provide 24/7 staffing, much the same as all the other fire departments around here. So again, I want to cover that our current budget is stable, but we're not making any gains. Our reserve fund is going to be drawn down to 48,000. That's going to come up in later on new business, because with the SCBA's, we have a 5% cost share. For the federal government. They're funding 95% of it. It's going to cost us $12,000 for the new SCBA's and $4,000, these are rough numbers, for the turnout grant that we also got. So we're going to have to deplete it from 62,000 down to 48,000 or 46,000, whatever it's going to be right there. New fire is $1 million. This will increase our availability of personnel respond. Plans to have roughly 1.5 firefighters on duty every day. Volunteer response is down nationwide. Bill needed a training platform. This allows us to send employees to training courses. That's one thing that I've done, is I've been sending our staff when available to outside courses. For example, Lieutenant Abney just went to a class in Bend, and you guys got one coming up. Yeah, they're going down to Springfield for a class. Because we can't train people here. We don't have the facilities and ability to do it here. Stuff open to interpretation. Again, I don't want to get political, but the economy is stable and improving. We've got a good reputation right now. It would bring us in line with other Columbia County fire tax rates, ensures our long-term viability. And I understand this is going to require major public engagement. And I've already had a discussion with our folks, both our career staff, our volunteer staff, about the ethics involved in promoting this. That we would not be promoting this at all in uniform, on duty, or any function. In fact, my preference, we will not, if we were to say if we were to form a political action committee, or we decide in a meeting, talk about, walking downtown, handing out flyers, holding signs, whatever. We're going to meet at a church and not meet in this building to avoid any ethics conflicts whatsoever about promoting this thing. So how we need to create a PAC to fund mailings, produce material not on staff time uniform, create a comprehensive and short videos detailing what the funds be used for, by not promoting it, merely saying that this is what we do with it. Create videos off duty, I'm not sure, Meetings will be held off-duty at external locations. I would meet with the community, both invited and external meetings, meaning that we would see about hosting some here. It's my understanding in the past when they've had meetings here in this building inviting the community in, they were not well attended. 4 people, something.
Yeah, 2 to 4 people on
So-
the 2 ones we had.
That's incumbent upon me then to go out to these various places, the Legion, Grange meetings, senior center, churches, breakfast gatherings, Lions Club, and go sit down with those people and ask to be on their agenda to speak for a few minutes about why the fire department's asking for more money, raise their taxes. That's what I've got. Big, huge, nobody likes taxes. I don't want, here I am, a new guy, been here 1 year, and so they want to come into the community. I don't live here, and I want to raise your taxes. I don't like the sound of that.
But you're very well known in Columbia County. A
Yeah.
positive person that people like and respect. I think it's a different
It's a different atmosphere.
atmosphere, so it's gonna be
So when
making better.
you're engaging the community.
I like to think that, just the other night, just because I went down to the homecoming dance, and I spent 45 minutes and spent the homecoming dance. Most of those 15-year-olds, 16-year-olds aren't voters, but they're gonna be remembering me, they're gonna say, the fire chief's down, tell their parents, things like that, just to get myself out there.
Trust me, my daughter talks about just the time you met her at the jamboree. Trust me.
Okay. I got on here the numbers, what it would do, how much it would add to us, and you can see in 2026, 2027, it would produce an additional $270,267. I can't tell you what, but just off the top of my head, I can say 80,000 that's gonna go into reserve fund right off the bat, maybe more. I mean, that's just right off the bat, it could be 60, it could be 100, somewhere there, but. These are my budget, so I always look at Raven.
It would depend on the year too, like the first year maybe not as much, so we could run the SCBA fill station. And then the next year it would just be really come down to our needs and it would allow us to modernize stuff. We give us some flexibility.
Yeah, it's gonna be addressing the priorities.
Yes. So that would be, there's the numbers right there, what the current levy produces and how much the additional 78 cents per thousand would produce for us. The interesting thing I saw is between 2026, 27 and 2030, 2031, that's only addition of $34,000. It doesn't increase that much per year. But, if people interpret it, they're gonna interpret it the way they want to interpret it. Well, there's gonna be a lot of education involved and something like, for example, every time we go out and say to somebody, hey, I want to raise the taxes and this is going to cost you 78 cents per thousand. Like, well, my house is worth $4,000. Well, yes, that's what you can sell it for.
It's not assessed value.
That's right. And that's a huge educational tool that we would have to get out in the community and say, hey, if you want to give me your address, I'll tell you what your assessed value is, And they mix those numbers up. They just think that what they consider house rent, what their tax rate is based on. It is not. Sometimes it's not half.
Yeah.
So, in fact, I just got my tax, I looked at my tax form I'm getting probably in the mail this week from Columbia County, and my taxes went up $160 this year. Big deal. It's fine. So, folks, this is what I'm coming to you about. I don't like to go out in the community, especially, I don't point it out, but I'm a new guy here, coming to you hat in hand, bad guy, want to raise your taxes. There's been people out there that say, you raise my taxes, and give me the middle finger and walk away. There's gonna be that thing.
But I think a lot of that has to do with not a lot of education has been given in the last 2 levy cycles. It's been, hey, this is the levy we're going for. Why?
Exactly.
What's the point? You've broken down why we need it. You can show it. And that's huge. Like, if you just tell me you want to buy a fire engine, why? I see that one all the time.
Yeah,
I see that one driving down 47. I mean, why do we need that?
So honestly, that when you put up the new training building or something like that, my first thought was why? Why do you need it? You need to sell me on why you need that. I mean, I know why you need it.
Yeah, and all of us in this room are unique that you guys have been around, you've been in the service for 93 years.
46.
But it kind of puts us aside from sending people to banks, sending people to
Oh,
Crota.
I was gonna say, that's
Sending
the easy
people
one, right? It's
all over
like
the
do it
state.
in-house versus I have to put them on the road to Eugene and cover mileage and an overnight and just to be able to do.
I mean, that's a cost by itself.
I think though that for me, I've been away from here for a long time. And coming back into this building and seeing what has been done here, seeing the professionalism that is here now. I mean, I worked here or volunteered for 8 years and, back when the good old boys, and we ran calls and came back and gossiped about everything that was happening. And I mean, you're just seeing that. The public needs to see that. The public needs to see what you guys have made up here. And I think that's going to be a good selling point for, this is why we need to raise our taxes, to keep this professionalism, to get more people. I've been a trainer all of my career. I know how important it is to have my space with my equipment, type of a thing. I mean, PCC, so worked there for 15, 16 years doing the EMS part of it, watching the fire sciences. I'm watching the fire sciences careers at the colleges kind of go by the wayside because each individual fire agency does it a little bit differently. So they can get the absolute basics there, but the training needs to be done here with our equipment, with all of that type stuff. And I think that's what we need to sell to the public on.
Yeah, I mean, I've done training at La Crota, completely different when I was taught here.
Yeah.
Did training at DPSST, completely different than both of them. And it's like, Dan, I come back here and it's like, no, we're not doing it like that.
Right.
This is how we do it.
And yeah, and I'll tell you, that having the smaller staffing and having, we do things differently. We are, in a sense, because of OSHA 2A 2L rules for fires, there's very few fires. I'm gonna have 4 trained firefighters on scene to be able to volunteer on a fire. If it's a rescue, that's different. But I mean, we are, there's gonna come a time here when it's gonna be me that someone's coming pounding on the window, pounding on the door, pounding on my face, saying, why didn't you go inside and put a house fire out? Like, I didn't have the people to do it. I didn't have people to do it. I'm sorry. Here's that application.
And I think that's part of the education piece too for the community, right? I think that oftentimes those that don't have any association to the job, they remember the old days of having a volunteer fire department, and there wasn't a lot of rules, right?
No.
And it's, you could do a lot of things. Doesn't mean it was safe for the staff that was doing it or the volunteers that were doing it. So, there's that gap that needs to be bridged of what today is versus what it was when your grandfather was a volunteer on this department.
Yeah.
So I can tell you that, I've spent a year here now, and I have done my absolute best to attend just about every single event that I can, just to put myself out there, shaking hands, introducing myself. I feel terrible sometimes, like, oh yeah, we met 3 weeks ago. Sorry, I don't remember that in my hands. And but I let's table a lot today. I'm going to be very honest with you. In 1 year's time, I have not heard any zero negative feedback of people complaining about an issue at the fire department since I've been here. I've heard nothing but great things about this place right now. Does that mean we strike while the iron's hot? Perhaps. Are we going to make a mistake? I promise you that we will. It's going to happen, and I will be the person that has to stand up there and take the swings, and I will do it. But we have an opportunity right now. If I think, Steve, if you're listening to me, you actually pulled me aside a couple months ago and said this exact same thing to me. Things are as good as they are right now. The economy's good. People are, this is, typically a more conservative community, and they like the way the federal government's operating. Again, I don't want to get political here. That now would be a good time to demonstrate to the community and that they can trust us. Steve, you have more thoughts? You've been quiet.
Yeah, I've been quiet. You guys have been chattering pretty good, but that's good. I like hearing the discussion. I'd like to dovetail in on something that Don Potter said, and that's the fact of the professionalism and what you see within the organization now, not just because we got a bright, new, shiny looking building, but because of just the general overall consensus of the way people are functioning. And I see the people within the community and the conversations I hear talk very highly of how professional the organization looks when they respond on calls and so on and so forth. And I agree with Dawn, training, being able, one of the things she said was proving why you need that, or selling me the product, so to speak. I think that's really important, especially when you start talking about training. One other thing I thought of too was, in reference to training, every time you have to send staff or people out for training that you could potentially use or do some of it in-house, you not only do you save money, but you also keep people within the district area that are available for response on when they're there being trained. Just different things I'm thinking. And I do agree with you, Chief. I agree 100%. Economy's good. It's going to be a little bit of a tough sell, but I think education within the community, at every civic organization, church function, anything you can do to capitalize on that. I hate to use an old phrase, but old fire chiefs that can talk in a positive way to help benefit the community by raising some money in taxes. Yeah, you're right. Why don't we go to a plan that says we are going to operate our district and plan and manage our plan rather than operating by the seat of our pants, and we'll operate in the sense that, well, when a crisis comes, we'll try to figure out how to deal with it. Let's start planning for the future, folks, when we can take care of ourselves a whole lot better than what we have in the past, even talking back in my time and before my time.
I appreciate that, Steve, and thank you for joining in on that, because but the one thing I do want to point out to you in terms of sending people outside training, I've done outside training too, and we do pick up some things from the outside that
Sure.
we can, and we bring it back here to train. So I don't want to say we're never going to send people out for training again.
So like for me, I was probably the last in-house academy that ever was for Vernonia. But it was brought out to the community, hey, Vernonia had a fire academy in the boys. Not only did we have more people responding as the association president at the time, thanks Brandy, we had 28 volunteers on the roster. Chief Steinway was the training captain at the time. We showed up in an engine fully staffed, and he was like, I'm used to like one or two people here. Like me and Chief Smith are the only people. Where did this come from?
Yeah.
But having that and being publicized that we're doing our own in-house training, when the levy came up, it got passed unanimously because they'd rather see people in the community staying in the community.
I think that's the huge selling point. Absolutely, I like to tell people, and Lieutenant Carr pointed this out to me, was I like to tell people in the community when they talk about how beautiful the building is. It is a beautiful building. I like to shine on the fact that we came in almost $100,000 under budget. And for a government agency to go out and say we came in under budget, people go, what? Yeah, we did. And that, there's a way to look. You can look at it from a different number of different angles. We had about $2.3 million allocated, we spent about 2.2. So right around.
So another kind of angle, you have a lot of new people in town.
Mhm.
You got a lot of, my street, there's only a couple of us old timers
Are they
left.
Portland people?
They're Portland.
Do they have a higher expectation of
Yeah,
service?
well, and that's just it, is because they're gonna come out here and they're gonna, my thought is in Portland, in Hillsborough, Beaverton, wherever, they expect this level of service. Why would you expect anything less out here? And if, that budget or what we need to bring it up to that level, which, our level's not bad, but just that would be another thing to think about as well. It's the new people that come into town.
The real estate agent that recently sold my mom's house in Bethany actually sells a lot of homes here in Vernonia. And I asked him, I said, what's the market like in Vernonia? He says, well, actually, it's surprisingly good. And the reason is is that it used to be, well, 40 years ago, people moved to Beaverton and Hillsborough, Forest Grove to get the cheaper housing because they worked in Portland. And then Intel and all those built up, and then the prices went to there, so people started moving farther out. They lived in Cornelius and in North Plains. Those have gone up. Now you look at Banks, you look in the Buxton area, you look in Manning, all those houses now, costs are through the roof. They're building 900 homes at the old golf course in Banks. All those homes are $400,000, $500,000 homes, brand new homes. Well, if people want to buy a new home, first home, want to save some money, where's the next closest place if they work in Portland area?
Yep.
They're moving to Vernonia. And that's a city problem because the city infrastructure is about tapped out. That's a long-term thing the cities have to work out, but there are people moving up here. So because the housing's still in Vernonia, although it's not higher than I expect it to be, because Lieutenant Carr is looking to buy a house, it's still higher than you
Yeah,
think.
well, for it.
It's still, you know, it's still the most reasonable 45 minutes drive to meet Portland.
That's why I moved here. I was told I was gonna work at Intel. They wanna live in Portland, grew up in Portland, they wanna live there.
Yeah.
45 minutes, no traffic, either direction, no matter what time of day.
That's right. So I entertain any additional questions, comments, observations, and look for direction from the board and how you'd like us to do this.
For me personally, I just think if we propose and pass this, that we have to get it out in the community ASAP.
Yep.
With what, I mean, if we even have to do monthly instead of bi-monthly or whatever.
So let's talk about showing up on the ballot at the same time as a 911.
So there's gonna be 29 cents per thousand. You're roughly looking at just over $1, $1.10, $1.80, Brits. And then
So-
additional taxes to them.
So, you guys, so, like in February when we met with 911, it was like, one of my things is if we were going to go for a levy at the same time, that they came up and presented why they needed it at the same time as a community, because 911's down there. They never really come up here, so people up here are like.
Well, they're gonna see the mailer that they get that says it's a
Well, I know.
scam and they're mismanaging their funds.
Yeah, but they're always like, why did they, instead of 911 being up here and presenting to the community.
I said the same thing
here,
too.
That, you know, so it might have to be a joint effort.
As a matter of professional courtesy, I did give a heads up to the 911 director that we will probably be competing against him. But I also said that, and I'll say this publicly and maybe another day bring it to you guys. I said, I will ask my board of directors if I would support your levy in addition to ours.
Yep.
I mean,
So they go in,
we get a levy, we're gonna take that money and give it to them anyways if they don't pass theirs.
Good point.
I mean,
And I think that's a message that needs to be communicated. Just because you don't pass the levy doesn't mean they're not gonna get paid.
yeah, I mean,
It's still gonna come out.
And it's still coming out of this community.
Exactly. That's an important thing. And all the other fire chiefs are aware of this. We had a conversation about this back on Monday, yesterday, at our fire chiefs meeting. We talked about this, that very same thing, but, you know, I don't know. I'm a new guy here. You guys have all been around in this building longer than I have been in this community. I will be my face out there. Yes, we should start, our planning, you know, if you guys agree to this, we'd start our planning tomorrow. I believe that it's very important that we begin the process early and start getting the word out there through word of mouth, things like that. But a very hard public campaign would probably be in March, April.
Yeah.
We'd really want to keep it fresh on people's minds and things like that.
I have a question.
Yes, sir.
Have you spoke at all with any of the city administration in regards to what the feelings are and what we're looking at this point, or is that something that's still to be potentially looked at?
Well, we're on public record here. This meeting's recorded, and I'm going to tell you this.
Mm-hmm.
We had a 911 meeting about 6 months ago talking about the levy. The city was involved, Josette was involved, and she brought up the fact that the levy causes what's called compression. I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with the term compression in the grand scheme of things for how levies are how taxes are assessed in the county, but there can only be a maximum amount. And when one agency expands there, it compresses the amount that other agencies get. So yes, this is likely to cause a little bit of compression to the city. I have not, because this is something that was not yet been approved by the board. I have not brought it directly to the city. But I did feel that when that levy was brought up at that meeting, the 911 levy, Josette did verbalize the fact that, there are compression issues to take into consideration. She's aware of it. So, I don't know how Josette or the city council feel about that. I do know that at least one city councilor, who we'll talk about a little bit later on here, Mr. Webb, is very supportive of the fire department. But I think it will be a concern with the city, Steve.
Yeah, I think I agree with you. In fact, I'm just thinking down the road here as we plan, maybe it would be a good opportunity for city administrator and some of the workshop session, I guess, is what I'm looking at. Because I know what you're talking about. When you talk about the compression, that is a result of the old Measure 5 way back.
Yes. And this is obviously one of the groups I would speak to is I would go to the city hall and talk to the city councilors at a meeting and go to one of their city council meetings and present it to them. And, again, I might be thrown out of the room but it's my responsibility, my duty to bring forth to them issues which will affect them as taxpayers.
Mm-hmm.
But once again, it goes hand in hand. The city has no fire department. They have no 911, so I mean,
Yeah.
everybody's coming to a head, so it's.
Well, the city would have to pay for 911 services also.
No, what I'm saying though,
Yeah.
is, I mean, it's.
Yeah, no, you're right.
It's
It's all part of it.
either we take the low road or everybody's gonna take the high road.
Yeah, I'm totally in agreement with what you're saying.
So, you guys probably, what I've asked the board to do is to, finish up the discussion you might have, ask me any questions. I'd like to ask for board approval to move forward with this, which would require me to begin researching the legal aspects of filing this kind of petition and what it would take. There would probably be some attorney fees involved in this as I get legal counsel involved in this sort of thing. And before I'm not going to do that unless the board gives me marching orders to do that.
Is there any other conversation? Any other questions?
I mean, one, can you send the slide to me?
Yeah, I'll get it all to you tonight.
Well, then that'd be my chief.
It'll take you 10 seconds to do it, so.
But, I mean, it's a good presentation. I mean, you showed numbers, you showed everything, so to me, I think it's a good stepping stone. With more teaching and more public outreach, yeah.
I believe one of the biggest, I'm sorry, I believe one of the biggest selling points is that we're not raising our rates higher than any other, we're higher than Mist, but Mist is an all volunteer department. They have no 24-hour staffing.
They don't have the population.
Sorry?
They don't have the population. They don't have the structures.
Right.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes.
have you called for the motion?
No, I have not yet.
I'm not,
Okay.
Chief.
I just chomping at the bit.
I ran some numbers computing the average, I got it off the internet, the average household income based upon all of the zip codes surrounded by us and all the other zip codes, the other fire departments in the county. And the numbers don't lie. The income is, they're right here. For example, in the Vernonia city income's a little over $83,000 median household income. For 97064, it's 78, almost 79,000. Columbia County is 86,000 as a whole. But then, so ours is in Vernonia 78,000 something. For 97064, median household income 78,000 something. Paper got cut off over here. That's 97064. 97016 is where I live. That's Clatskanie, 67,500. Yet they pay higher taxes than we do. So these are numbers that obviously I would use as part of an educational campaign. If you say, well, we don't make nearly as much money up here. So, well, census is differently,
Yep.
That's not the word I wouldn't have said that.
But it does.
Numbers don't lie.
I've never worked anywhere, public or private, because I've done both sides of the house, where we didn't have regular recurring reserve studies so that we knew that we could fund our operation long term,
Yeah.
right? But part of that is having a strategic plan. What's the objective? What are we trying to fund? And then set the reserve rate and the reserve study to match whatever the objective is going to be in 30 years. But this gets us moving in that direction, and then we can do the reserve study and the strategic study potentially.
So let me talk about one other thing that came up between Lieutenant Carr and myself, and that was the fact that if this vote's gonna happen in May, first or second week of May, whatever it is, by that time, our budget process is gonna be well along. Meaning, we're probably gonna have 2 budgets prepared. We're gonna have.
Won't be the first time we've done that.
We're gonna have 2, but in fact, we're probably gonna have to do a supplemental budget, you guys know, right, heads up here, based on the revenue that we're getting incoming from these federal grants.
Yeah.
We're probably have to make a budget adjustment and call the budget committee again, meeting in the next couple months probably. But anyway, so there's gonna be a lot of work on our end too, to make this work. It's not a problem, but just let you know that it's gonna make a lot of work for us down the road to 2 different budgets that we're gonna look at. Probably wait until later to approve them and, you know, so.
And is everybody good, if, I haven't called for a vote yet, Steve. But to entertain this, is the rate something that you guys would entertain? Is that enough? Is it too much?
It just kind of fits.
It does fit very nicely. I give you that.
I mean, just compared to what everybody else is.
It puts us on par with everybody
Yes,
else.
exactly. I don't think we're not going over what other people are doing.
And in reality, you're going for, let's say, 60 cents, or compared to $2.50 last
Right.
time.
Yeah.
That's a huge sell. People don't like seeing numbers on the other side of the decimal.
How that comes out in the legal form, in the voters pamphlet, and the information that we're gonna have to submit, it's gonna show a $2.02 levy increase.
Yeah.
That's gonna be a scary number, but we're gonna have to do some educational of it. Well, you're already paying $1.24,
Right.
plus the 18 cents per
And
thousand.
in the pamphlet, there should be a descriptor as well that says this is falling off, and so net will be.
Yes.
Yeah. Is there any other conversation, any other discussion, questions? Hearing none, I'll entertain a motion.
I'll make a motion that we move forward with the levy proposal as stated by the chief, and as a district, we thrust forward with it.
Second. Is that Dawn?
Yep.
Steve, how do you vote?
Aye.
James? Amy? Dawn?
Aye.
Motion carries unanimously. Well, good job adding a bunch of work to your plate.
Oh, wait till next one, I got.
Wait, I was looking the wrong place.
Okay. I'm ready for the next.
All right. Subject of SDAO best practices.
Yeah, this is,
I asked this question a number of months ago.
yes, you did. Here it is. I asked Charlotte to put this on as a new business. I don't think, we can decide what we're going to do with it. But I printed off a form off the SDAO website specifically for our fire departments, the SDAO self-assessment,
Of best practices.
best practices book. As we can see, it is gigantic, all right? And I have started to review this thing. And I'm telling you, we're not at the best practices level of everything that they're asking for.
Shock.
Yes. I've started to make notes in here. I've checked things, there's a lot of not, I won't say crazy things, but just things that, as a small department, that we don't have an HR person specific designated sort of thing, and I, there's a million things that cross my desk every day that I gotta triage and look at. I mean, but there's just something as simple as the district has an annual review / training of each board member and written acknowledgement of policy and training kept on file. It's just something simple saying that you guys have received some training this year, but we have to document that things. There's just a ton of things. Public meeting record law, how we do this. Anyway, what I'm telling you, what I can tell you is that there is a million different things in here that I am going to spend the time that I can reviewing these, and it's going to require some work on my part to work the best I can to bring us into compliance with this best practices. Is it 100% achievable?
Some of them.
Perhaps.
Some of them will be.
No, some of them are bad. Some of them are doing.
Yeah, some are. I would not expect that you would do 100%.
District receives ethics board training. Yes, we all have that requirement. We have to do the things, and these just sort of things. Board has adopted a surplus property policy. Yes, we've done that. They're just things on here. The board has appointed an auditor. Yes, we have an auditor. So there's a lot of things on here that we're doing. It's going to be my job to go through here. I guess I don't need a motion, but I'm going to give you guys a heads up that this, along with the levy stuff that I'm working on, along with the policy stuff, along with the OSHA stuff, there's a lot of things that are going to happen, and I'm going to tell you right now, in my position, I'm not going to be able to get them all done. I can staff out what I can, but Charlotte's got a full plate. I hate to dump things on these guys, but they got full plates, but they're here more than they have. These lieutenants do more than any of the lieutenants in the county in terms of administrative work. And I will give them what I can. I will continue to work as much as I can on everything that's on my plate. The OSHA, the self-assessment, the levy, policies, but it's gonna be difficult. I'm just letting you guys know. I will not be successful at this. I promise you that.
I will say two things. One, can we lean into SDAO as a console around best practices?
Yes.
Because I would encourage that. That may cut down on the amount of administrative work that has to be done here, right? They can streamline that process with us. And then the other piece of that is, if you show that you're in keeping with best practices, what's the benefit? Well, there's two benefits, but
Liability.
there's liability, and it should reduce our insurance rate to SDAO, to SDIS. There is, I guarantee it.
Yeah.
That's the reason I used to do it.
Okay.
So unless they've changed the program, now, how much savings? I don't know. So that would be worth asking that question, because, if we have $1 million, and I don't know what our insurance rate is, right? What we pay annually to SDAO, SDIS, but I would assume it's something on the $1 million. No?
No, for us, we pay like the SDIS, it's fines under 55.
Oh, well, that's nice.
But then we also pay SAFE too.
That's all,
SAFE's our working.
it's all collected in that
In
number.
that-
It's all in there. So, but if you're able to save 5%, that might make it worth it. And I don't know I know there's a carrot in there. I don't know what that carrot is. So maybe worth checking out.
Yeah, yes. And on that note, I don't know if you saw, Charlotte told you that we did get a rebate check for a little over $5,000 from from,
1,800
oh, I think right now.
for distribution.
I'm lying.
Big
again.
distribution.
There you go. Okay.
Thank you.
But, anyway, I guess I don't need a motion. I just wondered, I thought it was big enough. This is, this is how we will be evaluated as for liability purposes on how we're working hard to keep ourselves doing the right thing for the right reasons, in a legal liability sense. And I'm going to spend time on this packet as I can in between everything else to get it done. You guys hired me a year ago. You can only afford a full-time chief. We made that a 2/3 time position last July. And I'm going to be very honest with you. Our end of our pay period is the 25th of every month. And as of tonight, I've met my 2/3 hours. That does not mean I'm still going to be here. But it's as of tonight, I've surpassed 116 hours per month that you guys are paying me. But I'm going to be here, I'm gonna continue doing things. You know, this department does need a full-time fire chief at some point. And with the levy, we'd have the ability to, if we want to do that, we go down that route.
Yeah.
Well, that's gonna be me or not, we'll talk, but that's.
So I'm looking for continuous improvement, which is what you're showing, right? We're continuing to move this department forward. None of this stuff is going to get done overnight. And that one, you know, it's the best practices. It's great as you can get to it and get us there. It'll be hard year 1 or 2 as we develop out towards it. But then hopefully, right, they become ingrained in policy. And then that becomes the next year, it's check mark, right? Oh, we already have a policy that says board will be trained and documented training annually by this date. And so when we get down to insurance renewal time, that's a checkbox.
And you know, here's one thing I just thought of too, this just popped in my mind, that should we be successful with this levy and we're able to, you know, have a little more income available for personnel services, that might fall along the lines of contract work, and we bring an HR person here on contract to help develop and work on these policies as well.
And that was the other thing I was going to say, and that's why I asked about SDAO consult on it, because best practice is have an HR person. But if we have a contract HR person, that probably satisfies the requirement. So, and you know, that I know there's other ones, I don't know about in the fire one because that wasn't my world, but you know, when we go into handling personnel issues, you know, did you check these boxes, right? Well, that's easy, right? If it's in policy that says this is how work performance or discipline is handled, then yep, of course that was done because that's how we do business.
Yeah. So I don't, unless you feel it needs for a motion or anything like that, I'm just kind of information. I thought it was big enough information that it should be under new business.
Anybody else have conversation, discussion on it? Everybody okay? Moving on.
Okay.
EFG grant approvals and cost share approval.
So much to my dismay, I got to call out the excellent work of Lieutenant Carr again. Lieutenant Carr was the primary author of our Assistance to Firefighter grant from FEMA, which resulted in us being successful in a $242,000 grant to purchase new SCBA's. We're planning to get 24 new SCBA's. And we've conducted internally a process to determine the route we want to go, things like that. In addition, we were part of a regional grant with Miss Birkenfeld to buy turnouts. So we have 20 new sets of turnouts coming in as well. The grant requirement is a 5% cost share. And so that would bring our amount to just a bit over $16,000 that we're going to have to pay towards the cost of the items, the SCBA's and the turnouts. I believe that it is an unbelievably awesome deal for us to be able to have this to us. Basically, the cost of one set of turnouts is about $4,300, and that $4,300 is going to get us 20 cents instead of one. So in order for us to do that, we're going to have to get board approval to transfer money out of our reserve account. When the time comes, and I don't know, this could be a month or two, we don't know. Nobody answering the phone at FEMA right now, so we don't know how this is going to work, but at some point, I wanted to get ahead of things so that we don't have to call a special meeting to appropriate this kind of money when the time comes. So I'm seeking board permission for us to be able to, when needed, to transfer that money out of reserves, put it into our equipment reserve, into our equipment capital fund, and be able to allocate that towards the purchase, our 5% cost share.
So you're looking for a motion.
No,
Well, please, wait.
We'll have to do a resolution.
To do that.
It will require.
Thank you. That's why I got him.
Yeah, we cannot move out of the reserve fund without a resolution.
Sure.
Okay. We'll have to come.
Do we need a vote to approve accepting the grant?
So, no, because I took a big bold step and I accepted it
Okay.
without your guys' permission. doesn't, you know, we can say, oops, if you want to say I screwed up, but, I accepted the vote with that, because that was a couple days before the government was ready to shut down.
Yeah.
And I wanted to be able to press that button and lock us in before the government shut down.
Yeah.
And, so, no, we have accepted the grant. I'm sure we could write them a letter saying, I'm sorry, our building exploded, we can't afford it anymore, but, I did, I took over the initiative right there and I accepted the grant on our behalf. Keep my fingers crossed and you guys would say, no, we don't want these. Or you're okay with me, doing what I did.
So I would also make sure that this is the kind of information that gets into our public campaign towards a levy. Right, that I think one is the public does not understand how expensive our PPE is, right, and the SCBA, right, and the fact that we paid 5%. We're lucky that there was a grant available for us to get it. Otherwise, we're on the hook for going out and buying all of that equipment. And at 5%, it was still 16,000.
Yeah.
Still required us to go into the reserve.
Because we can't just write a check.
Right.
Yeah,
Right?
I think all of those are huge points.
So I guess,
Expect to
guess I
see your
don't-
resolution.
I don't need, I guess we don't have a resolution available to you, so, basically, I don't need a motion on this as well, it's just kind of a heads up thing. Another big ticket item, I want you guys heads up, I guess we can get a motion then.
Yeah, it'll be very specific all the way down to the cent.
Yeah,
When the
absolutely.
resolution.
Yes. So we have to wait for, do we know what we don't know what it
We're
is.
still, I think we know the dollar and cent that they said, but then it comes down to what we actually pay.
Yeah.
They can beat a price, we still just paid 5% of whatever the final price
Yeah.
is, so it won't be until we.
So we can't even draft the resolution.
Yeah. literally.
We don't have the information.
We're gonna have to get the quote from a good.
So I guess if it becomes a, hurry up and get it done, then we call a special.
In other words, can you table this until that time comes and you have that information?
That's exactly what we have to do. I think we got ahead of ourselves by putting it on the agenda. How's that?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yep.
I'm sure I'll do that, too, just because of the big ticket item, but I think that probably could have gone.
To move to old business now.
Yeah, I would say that goes into old business. Or, yeah.
I thought that came from Steve. And I was like,
Your
I was patient.
volume's low.
I think Mike already participated.
How do you spell that?
See how it translated.
Okay, any items not on the agenda?
No, but before you get off of that one and go to that agenda item, hey, I know he's in the room and I can hear him on bits and pieces, but Brandon, thank you ever so much for your effort. The whole staff, whoever had hands in it to get those grants applied for and to help us get them received, because those are huge things in our district, especially for the safety of our personnel.
My pleasure. Charlotte helped me a lot with this.
Charlotte was very instrumental as well. And,
Mhm.
yeah, there's one other part of the components. We did pay a, grant writer who's professionally does this for a living, well, let's see, but she has been very successful the past 10 years with these FEMA grants in particular. She knows the system, she knows her stuff. So that was also paid out as well, but credit to Jennifer by the way as well. We're gonna have to write her a check for $1,500.
I was just gonna ask how much that costs.
$1,500 is part of the grant, it's covered in the grant.
In the grant.
The grant.
That's an easy decision.
Yes.
All right. Agenda suggestions for future board meetings. Anybody have anything that we need to discuss? Bring up?
My suggestion would be on ongoing things is, just continue to talk about the levy every meeting.
Yes. And we'll continue forward with board policies and strategic plan as topics, even if we have to take, correct?
Yes, strategic plan, I can start to formulate an idea on that now that I know with,
I think it's,
Actually, be more based upon the success of this work.
It will be, absolutely will be.
So, maybe that's the state table for a while.
Yeah.
well, but we have an idea.
I was just gonna say, that may be
That
part of the
could-
sales package, right, is,
Like,
Having that side by side.
this is where we're going.
They're gonna line up pretty much though,
Right.
you know, based upon that. And, you know, I can, you know, basically the strategic plan, as I write it, with all the input that I can get from everybody else, because the strategic plan takes the paid staff, the
Yes.
volunteers, Metro West, the board, the community, and puts everybody together, either in the same room or at different times, to get their input. And,
But I think if you just have a base,
I can do that.
and then as we talk about the levy with the community, it can kind of build itself as we go.
it'd be more like a vision.
I think that's probably a better way to look at it.
Yeah.
This is what we envision.
Yeah.
Our future looking like.
Yeah.
Sure.
Go from reaction to proaction.
Yes. And it, I mean, it'll be a short term, right?
Yeah.
Because it's only gonna be the duration of the levy.
Yeah.
So, I mean, normally, you know, when you're writing a strategic plan, you're looking out 25 years.
Oh, yeah, 10, 20, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
Done.
Anything else for the good of the order?
Yes.
Okay.
First of all, we have our, I talked with the OSHA council already, November board meeting day. Cheryl, you want to talk about that?
Right, yes, the next board meeting is on Veterans Day, which is.
Yeah.
I think. So I wasn't sure which day you guys would like. Everyone's schedules would change. the meeting.
Do we need to change it because of?
Or we can keep it, it's up to you.
I'm not doing nothing special on that day.
Yeah.
Maybe we'll get a free breakfast, that's about it.
Want to keep it on?
I can keep it on.
You can keep it, want to keep it?
Huh?
As long as you're fine with
11, 11, 11.
the 11.
Just don't look at it as that Veterans Day, just look at it as Armistice Day. Fine.
Okay, so we will keep the Tuesday, November 11th board meeting.
Okay.
Perfect.
I'm gonna add in one. I sent you all an email regarding, an article I read in the, Oregon Fire District Directors Association, called the Connie, regarding, some boards and other places, every board meeting, I actually know there's local, I know, let's see, local agency in Columbia County, at every board meeting, they buy themselves pizzas, and they're making a dinner out of it, make a dinner date, they're using taxpayer money to do that.
My old district, that's what the board got.
Yeah.
You can't do that.
Catered dinner. Every board.
You're out of the pop machine.
We, there's no object rule saying that we really can't do that. Now, we don't do that here. The thought might be that one day if we decide 3 months down the road, talk about levy, we have a board workshop one day, hey, let's all meet on Saturday and we get together, oh, well, I'd love to do it. We can't buy ourselves lunch anymore. Or the district can't.
Can't
do
take
that.
district funds.
I'm taking a big chance by giving you your 50-cent bottle of water, I use taxpayer dollars. I actually emailed Lori Cooper, who was the author of the article in the community. Emailed her, she's already heard as well. And she said, OJEC is forcing us into a new paradigm, so I do not pretend to have all the answers, but my office has been wrestling with this subject for a bit, and we have been assisting many of our clients with drafting new policies and or revising existing policies to comply with OJEC's new interpretation of this area of ethics law. One likely saving grace here is that we don't think this will be an area of emphasis for OJEC, and as long as local governments are trying to comply, it seems pretty low risk that OJEC will be nitpicking for violations. I can assist the district in drafting new policy and or revising supplementing existing policy if needed, just let me know. I don't know if we have a policy against or for, I can't say I've ever seen like that, but I think perhaps, we're not violating now. I don't see us violating in the future. This probably should, something we all should remember that, hey, we can't buy ourselves pizza, we can't, we can't do that. The one thing that.
But you also can't buy like during a training event or.
Normal, so I talked to somebody else, I can't remember what it was. Normal weekly training events, no.
Okay.
For example, the special event that we're hosting here in 3 days,
Mhm.
we're gonna spend $100 of district money on that because it's an outside event that we're bringing outside people, things like that. So that was the normal, like, we can't entice volunteers to show up and go by buying pizza every night. You can't do that.
Okay.
But for outside special events, it can't be a routine thing, which we don't do. Last time this happened was when we had the skid presentation in May at the high school with Lifeline.
Yep.
And then we brought in responders, all female responders from across the area, and we bought lunch.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was it. So I believe that there's the entire spirit, and again, this is low pressure, low risk.
Low risk.
Yeah, so, but I think as a board, we're not violating now, I don't see it violating in the future, but I just want to make everywhere that I follow up on that.
Yep.
Finally, the last thing, Don Webb. Those of you who know of or heard Don Webb, he was a longtime volunteer for this agency. Steve will probably know best about this. I talked to his son at length, Dale, and I reached out to Dale and said, we want to be as involved as the family would like us to be involved in any sort of services. And this is what we've come up with. Don was 46 years as a volunteer, ending up as fire chief here. Actually, he ended up as assistant chief under you, right? He was chief and then
Yeah,
became assistant chief?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. And then was a board member for 6 years following that. 50 years total. So this coming Saturday at 1 p.m., it's very low key. He's not really putting it out. He's kind of inviting guests only. We're going to be taking Old Red and Old Fire Engine down there at his request. We're going to be putting some bunting on it. We've got some old pictures and some plaques and some awards he has over the years. I will be down there in my full Class A uniform, as well as we've invited our volunteer staff to go down there. And if we're handing out programs or something like that, we've purchased them a military style flag display, the folded flag. I've got his old badges. Dale brought them into me. I've got his old fire department badges. We're going to put them on display. I've got an old department patch we're going to put in there. We're going to do and I'm actually going to present that flag to his wife. So we're going to be we're going to be involved in that. He does not want a procession. He doesn't want the trumpets and the bugles and the bagpipes. He did not want any of that, but they did put in the obituary that anybody that wants to make a donation, half the money is going to go to the fire department. I can't remember the other half was to the scout captain. Oh, the scout captain, correct. So we might be receiving a donation in that respect from the family. But that is, I've changed my plans on Saturday to be part of that. That's all I have to do, sir. 2 hours, not bad.
It's not over yet.
No.
No, it's not over yet. Any conversation on OFDDA conference?
Oh, yes, so, you two,
Who to?
James.
I mean,
Steve.
Oh, Steve, I'm sorry, Steve.
Okay.
My bad, sorry, Steve. Thank you. Yeah,
That's all right.
You two are on the agenda to go. I have asked, there are scholarships available
Okay.
for that. I have submitted them. I expect to get any time now, the scholarships and pay for.
Okay.
If they're not, we'll pay for them ourselves.
Okay.
We already paid for ours.
Okay, then we'll get reimbursed for that too. So I plan on attending along with you and Steve in Seaside that weekend.
Anything else? All right, I will entertain a motion to adjourn this meeting.
I will make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
All right. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Who had second? Amy? Steve?
Yes, sir. Aye.
James?
Aye.
Dawn?
Aye.
Amy? And motion carries unanimous. Meeting adjourned. I did it again, didn't I? Next meeting is November 11th, 2025.
Chief, are you still there?
I am, sir.
Hey, would you be sure and email me that presentation you had for the levy proposal?
Yeah, I'll get it. I'm gonna make a note for myself here. Hang on, I'm gonna stop recording right here.
There's me.
Yep.
Okay, yeah.